Hello, people. It's been quite a while. I think almost about a month since my last video. I was away for I think about 2 weeks to New Zealand for a so-called holiday. Because when a wife wants to go for a holiday, you can't help but to accompany, right? So, anyway, I came back more tired than I there before I go for holiday, because after that, after I came back from holiday, there's a whole lot of backlog from work, even though I've been trying to clear it overseas. But there are certain things that just cannot be cleared overseas, and that's why I think I took quite a while back before I can settle down and get things running again, and then find some time for this YouTube thing. So anyway, back to the topic. I think today we'll be talking about Sceneca residents. Since this is going to be launched, I think 11th, right? 11th Jan. Okay. Then anyway, back to the topic again. This is sharing. But as usual, a disclaimer: whatever I just share here is just based on my own point of view and my own research. So make sure you do a due diligence before you make any move. Okay. And back to the fact sheet of the Sceneca residence. This is the 99-year leasehold condo, and this is what I call mixed development. I don't exactly call it integrated. Some people call it integrated because to me, integrated means it needs to have MRT and a bus and then a mall. I don't think this is exactly really like a mall because there's supermarket, but there's an F&B, but this is not like a very, very big kind of mall. So to me, not really. You may not have like a food court, all these kind of things. May or may not, we do not know yet. But anyway, it's still not enough for me to consider integrated development, so it's more like a mix. Okay, so there is a difference, but really at the end of the day, whether if you're going to be staying there, I don't think you really consider, is it going to be a mix or is it going to be a integrated, because it's really up to your own definition of convenience. This is the site area or the land size, and number of units 200 plus. For me, the land size is a little bit small. So in that case, I don't really feel it's enough lah. But anyway, it's up to you, or whatever you need to. If you like more facilities, then this may not be the kind of condominium that you may be looking for. 200 plus units, which is still quite okay, still quite healthy for transactions, so not too much of a problem. A unit mix as compared to the other launch, which was near to Bedok site, Sky Eden. I think if I remember correctly, Sky Eden does not have a one bedder. Okay, so but the funny thing is here there's some one bedders, and the monthly maintenance even for the one bedders are not cheap. I think comparatively, because there are some like Treasure at Tampines, which is not too far away from here. They were last time I think 100 plus for maintenance. But anyway, it's just a difference of 100 plus. Yes, it may sound a lot, but when it comes to real estate terms, when you're buying and selling $1 million property, 100 plus a month is actually not too much of a difference. So it really depends on whether you are focused on the big money or are you focused on the small money. And you have all the way from one bidder to four bidders plus. Hey, let's not talk about the penthouse lah. Some of the artwork from the developer on the development, which obviously is going to look nice. If not, then they are probably not going to use it as marketing material. So it's just some concepts. Then back to what we usually like to do, area analysis compared to who are our competitors in the area within 1 km radius, as seen on within the brown line itself. So you can see not too cluttered from this point of view, but if we zoom in and look at the numbers, exactly how many units are there in each of these condo, and then as usual, I've done up the hard work for you. I added up all these units, which compared to some other areas like Newton, Novena, this is a lot easier to do. But then again, some of them are rather huge developments. And therefore, the number of units in the area, including the upcoming Sceneca residents, is going to hit 5,000 plus. And from a supply point of view, I would say this is considered on the high side already, or rather very high side already, and that's why this may be a little bit saturated, even though a lot of you will mention, oh, this TTD is near MRT, blah blah blah. Later, or rather upcoming, we're going to show you a chart on the nearby developments, what has happened to it over the past few years, and then let's not wait further, let's see. The one we may be looking at will be Urban Vista and also the Glades, because these two are actually not that old. They are, I think, about 20, they were built in about 2016. Okay, Eco was built in about 2017. And if you look at since the property market peaked back in 2013, the Glades hasn't exactly risen too much. It has went on the downtrend after they came back up. Same goes for Urban Vista, like this. Okay, so you can see over the past 10 years, it has been going sideways. Optima also has been going sideways and even downwards, even though there are a lot of resale properties that has been going up. But if you compare to the rest, I don't think this is a very attractive movement over the past few quarters, given how much the resale market has moved. And therefore, this may reflect an effect of the supply. However, some of you may be wondering, hey, if that's the case, how come the Grandeur Park is able to move that high? So that is a concern. Answer to some of your question is that Grandeur Park Residences, you may want to note that even though it's the youngest in the area, it was only completed, I think, if I'm not wrong, 2020 or 2021. And as such, you may want to note that when it was launched cheaper than existing condos. I think by then 2016, Urban Vista, Glades, and maybe Eco hasn't really been up at that point. But when it was launched, these three were already up. And imagine a new car being offered to the market at a cheaper price than an old car. I think it's very obvious which choice that people will take, right? And as such, it is only understandable that Grandeur Park will only rise in terms of the price movement lah. And whether this movement is sustainable, I think that is something that is still questionable, because it really depends. I think there can be a little bit more of like a anticipation of Sceneca residences, the prices, and that's why maybe people are betting since Sceneca is going to be launching rather expensive, which I think it will be. Later we will have a look at roughly what's the indicative that we will be expecting. Then maybe this one, which is slightly a bigger and more attractive development, and that's why very likely it's still gonna have that star factor in that sense. Okay, so again, Grandeur Park was the one that made quite a lot of money, but we'll zoom into the numbers fast enough. Grandeur Park, the highest amount of profit would have been 700 plus thousand. The rest were below 500,000. So you can see the amount of profit from the first guy to all the way to the second, and then the rest is quite a big margin. It's a big margin of over $250,000 difference, and mainly because of the unit size. As usual, the unit details we're not going to be showing over here. So for confidentiality purpose before some of the owners are coming in telling us about PDPA blah blah blah. So that's why it's been blanco out, unfortunately for you. Okay, if you really need the numbers, then drop out as PM and then we can send it to you. Then anyway, back to this. Imagine that time 2017, people were buying these large huge unit at 1,001 plus PSF. 1,001 plus and if you look at the indicator later, it's going to be almost twice the price for something that's going to be launched less than okay, not less than, I just keep thinking, still living back in 2002. I think it takes some time for people to digest something that is launched 5 years later on a 99-year lease is going to be launched almost at twice the price of this. So this may be something that people may not be able to accept, and it reminds me of something that it has happened in the form of this, and this, because both of them were not exactly launched at a very nice price, but because the market is in the favor of the sellers at the point, which is the developer, and that's why they had the option to be able to launch higher in that sense. Okay, and so fortunately for Glendale Park Residences, they were launched at a good time, and quite a lot of people managed to get into quite a good deal with 0 losses. Okay, for round 3 transaction and 84 per profitable ones. On the other hand, the Glades 100 plus make money, but 37 of them then lose money. And that although I've been inside the Glades before, it's quite a nice condominium. It feels a little bit like, you know, Jurassic Park, that kind of theme park kind of feel. But the total amount of profits is only about 300 plus, whereas there's quite a lot of people who lost money. If you give me a ratio of maybe about, I would say, 70% that's profitable, and then maybe okay, maybe 70-80% as profitable, 20% unprofitable, I still wouldn't feel very safe as compared to having something that is of 100% kind of hit rate. Okay, not to say that the grades is really bad, gonna be bad for a long run, but if you're talking about buying something that's gonna be brand new and then way higher, this may actually end up being a better bet. Okay, but so but the problem is we do not know what is exactly on the resale market, so it doesn't mean that, or you know, I may talk about, hey, maybe some of the grades may have some units that's going to be of a decent price, but then again there are a lot of sellers that are screaming for crazy prices, and that's why it's not as straightforward, because we know in the resale market there's going to be the super unrealistic seller, there's going to be the realistic seller, then there's going to be the not so or rather I would say the not so savvy seller. And when, how much of a price range can you get in order to be able to get a better deal lah. But the problem is finding that range of, you know, realistic to not so savvy seller is going to be very difficult. And sometimes it really takes that courage to buy something that is not so favorable facing, but because the price is cheap, and that's why you get into something that has value. But problem is, you know, when people see things like this, they have a lot of doubts, they question here and there, and they don't understand the market. They feel that, oh, you know, even though grades has been losing money, or I would say not as profitable, and therefore in the future it's gonna be like this all the way, which may not be necessarily so, as long as you get into a decent price. But like I said, I think it's still rather quite a seller's market despite the high interest rate, and that's why the resale market, I would say, is a very tricky situation right now, because it's still pretty much at the tipping point, or maybe we have not even reached the tipping point. For Urban Vista, same 38 profitable transaction. The thing that is worse is that you have 76 of them that were unprofitable. So there's a lot more people who lost money than people who made money. If you compare, I think there's like 70% of them who made money, who lost money, and 30% of them who didn't even or 30% of them who actually made money. Okay, but the total amount of loss far exceeds the amount of profits. And why is that so? Because the thing is that when it comes to this location, right? If you look at the location again, if you take a look at the location over here, a lot of people will think that, oh, what can go wrong, right? After all, this is about super walking distance to MRT. This one is also super walking distance to MRT. So why is it like this? A lot of people will think that buying something that is near to MRT is going to be a foolproof investment, but this is a typical example of why you shouldn't be buying just because of convenience. Because today, the name of the game is not convenience, unfortunately. The name of the game is, for convenience, is actually more of for people who are willing to pay for it, and not always really for people who want a good value in terms of investment. Okay, so that's Urban Vista. which was an unfortunate case. I think even today, there are not many people who actually still manage to make money. For eco, on the other hand, despite so much, I hear so much people talking about eco, not doing the finishings are bad, the facilities not well maintained, blah blah blah. What the design of the place, the layout is crap, all this kind of shit. But the problem is it has a much better transaction proportion of profitable transactions compared to the unprofitable ones. You have 95 over here and then 55 over here. Total amount of profits, there is the highest amount of profits, 400 plus, loss 200 plus. So I think this is a much better ratio in terms of profitable versus unprofitable, and also absolute amount of profit versus loss. Right? But given a choice, I think I wouldn't want to put my money in such an area, because there's still quite a high percentage of loss-making transactions over here, unless you have something that's going to be selling brand new and really, really, really cheap. Example, in the case of Glendale Park residences, but we know because of the indicative that has already been released by the developer, this is almost going to be impossible that they're going to be launching at that kind of price range of Glendale Park residence. Okay, so given a choice, I think if you were these two are developments that are in other areas of Singapore. But the problem is, if you look at their transaction when it comes to profitable and unprofitable ratio, this one 75 of them they are profitable. This is 0, and the other one is 29. This one is 1. So why are there such a big discrepancy between these two types of development and versus these few developments which has quite a lot of unprofitable transactions? And given a choice, will you want to put your money in somewhere that is like all these, there's quite a very high percentage of losses, or will you want to put your money, hard-earned money, into somewhere that is a lot safer in that sense, because there's a very, very, very high percentage that at least you will walk away with profits, and hopefully within the first page of the profits? Okay, and how do you spot all these developments? I think it's not so simple as, the typical freehold near MRT, near mall, near this, near good school, whatever it is definitely not like the case as maybe 10 years ago, because this is not a speculative market, and that's why this is not as simple and clear cut as it was. Okay. And that's why, because of all this, I think there is a pressing need for us to have our due diligence, make sure that, eventually, if you do end up in Sceneca residences, is your transaction in the future going to be in this column, or is it going to be in this column? I think that's the tough part that a lot of people do not understand, only when they. But the funny thing is that I'm very sure there's going to actually more people that are here in this segment out of this condo. But the problem is humans have a tendency to avoid losses, because they know that their property is not making money, and that's why they are they are refusing to sell. Basically, they are refusing to realize the loss, and that is something that is unfortunate, because they could have liquidated, take the money, go and roll it somewhere else. But instead, they try to convince themselves that, hey, guess what? Now the rental is very high, and that's why maybe we should just earn more money through rental. But if you calculate after all the causes, you realize that ROI is actually not that high as compared to some other moves with the same amount of money. Okay, and when it comes to master plan, if we compare with the street directory map, and then all this over here, you realize there are not many remaining residential land to help pull up the price. Because recently I think Bedok residences managed to go up because of anticipation of Sky Eden. If not, it hasn't really been going up for quite a while, despite the lower supply on that side. Okay, but the thing is over here you can't really expect the same effect because there's a lot of other competitors in the area as compared to Bedok Residences, which seems to be the only one to receive the benefits of the new GLX. But all these guys are waiting, including a Sceneca Residences, all these guys are waiting for this lonely piece of land that's for now supposedly a forested area. But when exactly is it going to be launched for sale to become a condo? That one nobody knows for sure. But the other thing is that your gross plot ratio 1.6 is not going to allow you to build up too much because this one has a much bigger piece of land, the glades, but this one has almost half the size of it, and then with the same amount of ratio. Whereas Seneca just a little bit smaller, but 2.8 plot ratio, it gives you 268. This one, how many do you think it's going to give you? And if there's not too many units on sale, will they be able to have that price pulling effect on the rest if you are gunning on buying this one and hoping that this guy is going to pull up your Seneca? Okay, for me, I feel the effect, the magnet in that sense is not as strong over here. So for Sky Eden, on the other side, near the Bedok MRT side, the average transacted has been about 2,001. And given the indicative previously, before they launched, it was at this price. Two bedders at almost 2,000, two bed premium over 2,000, 1,009 over 2,000, almost 2,000. Okay, this was Sky Eden previously. And then if you look at Seneca, this one very hard to compare because there is Sky Eden does not have one bedder. But on the other hand, you can see despite being one stop so-called further away from the city center, the prices that is indicative are almost the same. So I would expect the launch prices is going to be almost similar to that of Sky Eden because the number of units are also not too far off, only about 100 plus more because Sky Eden has about 160 units. The Seneca has 268. Okay, so this is not considered a very, very, very big development in from my point of view. And then same again, if you compare the ratio for not say the ratio, the expected PSF is pretty much similar in that sense. So I would say maybe Seneca is going to be launching about PSF this, okay, for this kind of location with a high supply because they are going to be starting at near to 2,000. I don't think they're going to be averaging 2,000 because it really doesn't make sense. They are probably going to be riding on their lack of launches. There has been quite some pent up demand over the holidays, and because of lack of new launches other than the ECs, that's why people have been swallowing out ECs like nothing like that. And then they are looking for something new because there are naturally a lot of people just looking for the next shiny new thing, and they are definitely going to be riding towards the fever over here. So for those of you who are still keen on it, the timeline, preview date cutoff is 11. That will be the check cutoff. So my apologies just now. I thought that 11 was going to be launched, but it seems that the public sale is going to be on 14th of January. VIP sales will come in 12th of January. Agent sales will be 13th January. So cheers to those agents who are going to be buying, although I really don't think there's going to be too many of them buying because I really don't think this is too very effective condominium. As you know what they say about insiders of stock companies buying their own stock, I really don't think this is going to be the case also. But well, this is the offer. They appreciate agents in that sense, to give them a priority. I think not all developments they do offer agent priority. So I would say this is something that maybe the agents will get to benefit in terms of the 3 bedders and above because only C3 and above. Okay, and Oh yes, one more thing that I would like to highlight is that this actually reminds me of something like a Piccadilly Grand. In terms of land size and in terms of the concept of the development, because this is not exactly like a integrated, but it's more like a mix. And then land size is about the same. Number of units is lesser because Piccadilly there's about 400 plus, and it's on 268 plus. This one was launched last year around May period, so it's about half a year back. But the problem is this one, I think they will launch an average of 2.1 something PSF if I remember correctly. And if this one is also launched at 2.1 something PSF, then can you imagine this one you're buying almost near the city center at this price? This one you're buying at Tanah Merah Center for this price, and you're buying almost the same for the two of them. I think there is something that is rather mind-blowing in a short span of half a year. So this is something that I feel is a little bit overpriced in that sense. Okay. I think yes, one last thing before we forget. I think something to clarify when it comes to my channel. I think previously, because I think when I was overseas, I remember some people, they have a lot of perspective, they have a lot of input, which is okay. I welcome you to input, but please do not put words in my mouth. Because as the funny thing is, generally I think if you look at the our property prices from 2017. People have been saying, after the on block market, prices should crash, but apparently it didn't. It stabilized before it came up again, then stabilized before it came up again, before COVID went down a little bit, then after that started flying up like crazy. And there's a reason behind it. But the problem is there are people who keep thinking that it's going to be crashing and crashing and crashing, and hence they'll be waiting and sitting on the fence, which is not wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone has their own perspective, right? But the problem is that when you come to my channel, you want to hear my analysis, you want to hear my thoughts, I welcome you. But please don't put words in my mouth, because when it comes to when the person asks about demand and I share about the population white paper, which is not done by me, it's done by our ministers and the scholars and all the stuff behind the scenes. They are the ones that came up with it, and there is a reason, because we have an aging population. We need the young people to come in and support our economy. If not, we are not gonna be retiring in peace. But I'm not the one that said that it's 6.9 million is needed. I didn't say that it's optimal, but I did mention that the government is their desire is like this, and our government generally has the track record that if they want something done, they tend to get it done, because it's supposedly for the welfare of our country, ma. But this doesn't mean that I'm on a pro-government propaganda. I think one thing that disclaimer, it doesn't mean that I'm a supporter of the ruling party or something. But I think something that we need to give credit where it's due is that compared to many other countries, our country when it comes to real estate market, the government is a lot more capable when it comes to managing the stability of the market. So apparently this guy came over and said that, the government has failed us here and there, here and there. So basically trying to enforce something what I feel like a political agenda on my channel. I mean, come on, if you want to do that, do it on other channel, or best of all, go and create your own channel and go and input it there. Please don't go and put it in my comments, because after all, this is my channel. And if you want an argument and I tell you that, okay, this so-called argument is not going to go anywhere, I'm not going to be spending so much time on. You want me to reply once, twice about the same thing, fine, but please don't expect me to keep repeating the same thing. And I find myself repeating, and guess what, it's such a waste of time. Let's just be honest. So guess what, I just banned that guy and off you go. Because after all, this is my channel, right? So come on, please. If you want to get respect, please give due respect in that sense. I understand you have different perspective, but I think it's important that we agree to disagree. If you have your own point of view, then and you don't mind hearing about my point of view, then please by all means listen to the channel. But if you have your own point of view and you want to enforce it and want to you really want to change my point of view because of your own point of view, I think this is not something that should be done, because what I'm sharing here is just based on my point of view. But am I trying to enforce my point of view on yours? I don't think so, right? Because these are my channel. I'm not going to be spreading around and telling everyone, hey, please look at my channel. If you want to, just come over and then have a listen. That's it. So I think it is important that we agree to disagree. If let's say your point of view doesn't match mine, and then you don't find that my analysis, you don't find that my point of view makes sense at all, then by all means please quit the channel. But please don't come over and try to pick up a fight, because this is not something that I came here for. As YouTube content creators, there's a lot of thought behind each and every single video, and I feel that it is something that not just my channel and every single other channel, as long as they're producing something that is what I call constructive content, then I think it is important to give them the due credit. Whether is it something that is, somebody is posting like a long video about something that is opposite to my own point of view, but I respect their point of view. So if you do have something that you want to bring across, you have a certain agenda that you want to bring up, then by all means, please feel free to create your own channel and put in your channel instead of trying to bring down other people. Because after all, certain social media is rather toxic, right? We all know that. But the thing is, if you expect me to be affected by you trying to, you're trying to come down and bring down my mentality, you're trying to make me feel like crap because of how you want to argue. I'm sorry, I'm not the kind of person. And to be honest, I don't give a crap about what you really want to do. But what I just want to let you know is that if you are that kind of person, all I need to do is just ban you from it and just report to YouTube that this guy is trying to do something funny, and then I'll just move on with my life. So please do not disrupt the kind of peace and respect that we have in our channel. And I think it is important that, at least in my channel, I try to spread whatever I try to research and find it makes sense, so that those people who really need my help in terms of their real estate journey, they get to get the best kind of information that they have, so that they avoid the kind of pain that they may experience if they went through the wrong agent, the wrong kind of info. And then, so at least when they come out next time, when they try to exit, they know they are in the right hands. I think that is something that is the most important part, or rather the most important point of me doing all this on the YouTube channel. Okay. Anyway, back to the Sceneca residences. I think at the end of the day, it's important that if you really like the location and you really like the concept, and you like the convenience and everything, and your whole family is staying in that area and you don't mind buying because you really like it, then by all means, please go ahead and buy it. But if you're looking for something that is that you need it to appreciate, because you really need to make the money, because you have all your eggs in this one basket, then I would say this is something that you may have to reconsider, because I think it's a little bit risky to me in that sense. All right. And if you are looking for something that is more I would say undervalued in today's market, then please drop me a text and I'll see how I can help you to direct your money towards something that is more valuable. Okay, that will be all we have for today, and take care, guys. See you. Bye bye.